I have a mother and I have a child. They're all looking up to me. And right now, if I die for this country, you're telling me you'll compensate them. Faith Odhiambo and Makau Mutua will compensate my mother for my life. What about making sure that I have a life that is already safeguarded? I don't have to die to make an impact.
Is Nairobi really working, according to you?
Nairobi I work. Nairobi is not working. And like Dr. Agnes Kagure is actually helping Sakaja, because through the Agnes Kagure Foundation, we're able to help a lot of issues which people of Nairobi have, and will not turn them away because we are not the governor, or I know it is very hard to work with male politicians. It is so hard. If you are not firm, and and me, I'm single, I'm not married, hi guys. But it's so hard because they think, I think somebody who has had me speaking in the few minutes, they say this woman has a little bit intelligence, and they just think you're just a pretty girl. You have maybe a mubaba who bought you this chain. They don't really think like you're capable.
Tired of the same old shopping experience? Step into a smarter way to shop with Whiteson Group, Kenya's go-to online store for quality you can trust. From gadgets and homeware to everyday essentials, we deliver convenience right to your door. Fast shopping, secure payments, and top-notch customer care, all in one place. Visit whitesongroup.com today. Whiteson Group, simple, reliable, delivered.
Well, a very good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Candid Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Evan Sokinyi. It's my pleasure to have you on board on yet another interesting and, of course, exclusive episode of the Candid Talk. For the first time today, we are having a special guest, of course. She may be new to us, but they're not new to the country. I'm talking about the one and only Sabina Stadler. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
And of course, our viewers are seeing you, I believe, on this particular channel for the first time. I know that you are a political communication strategist, been here in the political space in this country for a while, and you definitely understand the political landscape and terrain of our beautiful country, Kenya. But then, who is Sabina Stadler?
Sabina is amazing. She's fun. She's funny. She believes in doing her best in every opportunity or table she sits at. And if she can't do it, then she lets somebody else take the chair. That's the core of who I am. Because I know people introduce themselves with what they do. So I like to do it a different way. But in terms of my career, I've been in the film and industry and communications. Also, I run a production house which does, of course, the films and communication strategies for different politicians who I've worked with over my career. Yeah.
Okay. Born, bred in Nairobi?
Born in Mombasa, the place to be on the island. That time it used to be the place to be. Nowadays, kidogo kumebadilika. But yeah, and then I moved to Nairobi for university, and then I stuck here. Yeah. Okay.
So you've been in the communication field, but at the same time you've interacted with political figures in this country. How did that journey start, and how did you find yourself actually at this point?
I think because I vied for a political seat, because I was a public figure through being on TV, acting in different TV stations, people within the area I was living would always come to me for issues. Hey, help us, when it's a celeb, mulika hii, saidia hii. And so I was like, okay, maybe if I was holding a political seat, I'll be able to have more control over this. So that's why I vied. And through vying, I interacted with political leaders, and I realized maybe I was not the person to vie. I was the person by virtue of having vied, I understand what it takes or what it means to be a politician. And so I'm able to serve these politicians better. Okay. Yeah.
How many political parties have you worked with so far?
Different, UDA, ODM, Wiper, but more for myself it has been ODM because I vied under ODM. But For political leaders, it's different because of my production company. But I work for them and I believe in them as individuals. I don't look at the party. Yeah. So for those kind of works, it has been more anti-partisan because I can work with someone who's one wiper if I believe in them and he's a good leader. I've worked with them monitoring and evaluation, campaigning, audio production, audiovisual production, social media management. Yeah, so it's an array of different capacity where I've worked with them.
Definitely a young woman of many hats. Welcome to the show. I want us to look at what is actually happening, because in this particular show we look at everything that is happening in the country and we bring our viewers up to date with all that, make it as simple as possible for them to understand. And I would first of all like us to begin from, of course, we are here 3 years of President William Ruto's tenure, and we're actually looking at his first term in office, the 3 years that he has spent. What's your honest assessment on the much that he's done, where he has failed, and what he actually needs to do to make sure that he delivers on his manifesto to Kenyans? Yes. You know,
I can imagine how hard it is to be a president, but I believe a presidential term is 5 years. So for me, if I believe the best part to really judge this president would be at the end of 5 years, because you might be looking at the midpoint. Maybe I really have to suffer a little bit so that at the end of 2027 or at that point I'm able to, you know, to harvest the fruits of that labor. Just like when you're saving for a retirement fund, you suffer a little bit now for the end game. So I could say I would be able to make a distinct decision at the end of those 5 years, because that's what the term is. Hopefully they don't review this term to 7 years. But if we're talking at the 3-year point as of now, specifically, and I was looking at the scorecard, just something like agriculture, for example, they're saying there's a 67% decrease in imports. You know, I'm wondering, you know, you really keep giving us these figures, but what does that really translate to? Does it mean that there's one person getting a monopoly of imports, or does it mean the farmer is empowered? Because if you're looking at avocado farmers, I was looking at a story on avocado farmers. They sell a kg of avocados for 10 shillings. And then now, after the whole long-term plans they are making, they're forced now, they're told they have to focus on avocado oil. And this avocado oil is going to 1, 2, 3 people. You're looking at fake fertilizer. It was just a few, last year, when you're talking about fake fertilizer. What happened to that story? Who was held responsible for that? So if you're looking at one thing, what I don't appreciate is our president has several advisors. So it's like we have people who are not actually experts in their field, in my view, who, you know, you're only as good as your team. And equally, even Sakaja is as good as his MCAs. They also help him to be a better governor. So I think the president, the only person who I know is an expert advisor is like Chigai, who's an expert in women. He's a women gender advisor. Though I know she's a lawyer. I don't know her expertise in gender specifically, but I think maybe his team needs a review. You know, that's what I think. And there's so much, especially us in Nairobi County, we feel it more because we are dealing with national issues. We are dealing with SHA, we are dealing with capitation, but we're also dealing with our governor. So we feel it even more when a governor is failing. So even the president is equally as good as his governors, as his CSs, and yeah, we'll see how it goes at the end of 5 years.
Okay. Looking at what he actually promised Kenyans back then versus now, 3 years down the line, you see we are looking at a number of things here. But then for the common man, all that they care about is that is the economy working for them? Are they able to put food on their table at the end of the day? That is at least for the majority of Kenyans who are here. But then if you look at how the president has actually handled very key sectors that are actually driving our economic growth in this country, and even if you look at the other sectors like health, education, and all that, all these things that we've had with SHA and everything, where do you think the government is actually getting it wrong?
The government is getting it wrong because they are not thinking of the long term. For example, I am now a member of Kenya Patriots Party. And it's, you know, many of these young people, they're saying you're leaderless, you're tribeless. I like that party because it's new. It's saying, come as you are. Come as you're leaderless and everything. You are the patriot. What does a patriot mean? A patriot will not look at your neighbor getting shot at. A patriot will not look at corruption and say, it's okay, I would deal with that. And so, as a Kenya Patriots Party, it believes in the long term. It doesn't think of the next election. It thinks of the next generation. So I think where we are failing as a government, rather where they are failing, is we're not thinking of the long-term solutions. Even when you're looking at Harambee Stars, you know, start with the seed. When you're promoting Harambee Stars, actually got so far in Chan because of that 1 million motivation. Evans, if you are making 1 bob today and me I'm making 1 million, I'll wake up very early.
Definitely.
I'll be very excited to go to that pitch. And you see in the World Cup qualifier, they didn't qualify because they did. What happened to the 1 million for World Cup qualifier? In fact, that should have been even much bigger than Chan because you're talking of the World Cup. And so when you're not looking at the seed, that footballer who's right now in Kariobangi South, he's full of dust back at his eyebrows, you know, he's holding his football and is walking 1 kilometer away to just find a playground, not even a stadium. That is the next person you need to think of when you're looking at Harambee Stars. Same with the film industry. When you are talking about bringing the Grammys to Kenya or the Oscars or whatever, have you thought of Wahoo, that musician? Is she making money out of her music? Have you thought of your top actor that she's sleeping hungry because he has no opportunities, yet you want to bring Grammys? So, like, let's think long term. Let's go to the root of the problem. Instead of going zigzag, you're starting in the middle of the journey, and the impact is not going to be long lasting. And you see even what has happened to Nepal right now. It's not just because of the social media ban. It's also because of you know, the children of the politicians were living this opulent life, yet the Mwananchi was not empowered. And even when you look at the promises were made, there is the bottom up. The bottom is still at the bottom. And the bottom, when you ask them, they are like, no, we don't feel empowered. And so for me, when I look at it, for me as Sabina, I'm not willing to die for this country. And if you tell me that there are children who have died, there's a mother right now, you are thinking of, okay, I have a mother and I have a child, they're all looking up to me. And right now, if I die for this country, you're telling me you'll compensate them. Faith Odhiambo and Makau Mutua will compensate my mother for my life. What about making sure that I have a life that is already safeguarded? I don't have to die to make an impact. Yeah. So
we'll actually get to that point of compensation and all that, and because I was actually still looking at President William Ruto's scorecard here, and then when you look at how the president actually communicates, now that you are in the communication field, and I believe you are a communication expert and political communication, and that's very important for this particular discussion. We are looking at a situation whereby the government is saying that it's actually doing all it can, and the president is saying, look, doing all I can to ensure that the country is in the right place. But then at times it has been blamed on communication, that there are several things that the government is actually undertaking, but then they are not actually being communicated properly to the common Mwananchi. Do you believe that we've got some sort of a communication problem, and that is why Kenyans cannot actually relate with whatever it is that the government is actually doing, but then they relate first of all with what is actually not being done on the ground?
I don't think it's a communication problem. I think it's a communication strategy. Because when the government is doing something great, you will see it everywhere. You will see it on Twitter. They are trending #1. You know, the bloggers have been paid to make sure we know about Ruto at 3 years. They will make a nice poster and put all the positives. I think if you are really honest, you should also put the negatives and tell us how are you working towards rectifying these negatives in the next 2 years that are remaining. But also, when I say it's also a strategy, if you see the president called the teachers recently to the State House, we've called the young people to State House who are trying to overtake the State House. And I saw the old deputy president saying, is it yesterday, that, you know, why are you calling people there? Come to the ground, you know. And so I think that's also a strategy, because the ground is hostile, and that already is communicating something. It's not about your words and your posters, your actions. And also listen to the people. What are they saying? The communication is two-way. Yeah.
Let's shift gears here and focus on, of course, I've heard you mention here that you're working closely with Agnes Kagure, of course, the leader of Kenya Patriots Party for now, KPP. And then I would like us to focus actually on what is actually taking place in the city as well, because I've seen Mheshimiwa put herself out there, and of course she also wants to get into the race and with the current governor Johnson Sakaja. Talking about Nairobi and how things are actually working, I believe that you've worked with a number of leaders within the city here, and you may be at a better position to explain to us and maybe make us understand what is actually happening here, because last time we saw even that particular attempt to have the Governor Sakaja impeached. Is Nairobi really working according to you?
Nairobi I work. Nairobi is not working. And like Dr. Agnes Kagure, is actually helping Sakaja, because through the Agnes Kagure Foundation, we're able to help a lot of issues which people of Nairobi have, and will not turn them away because we are not the governor, or So ideally for me, working with the foundation, it helps us solve some of these problems. And as much as also we are saying, Dr. Kagure has not said herself, has not made a public declaration and said, I want to run for governor. It's people want her to run for governor because she's vied before, and she was shortchanged by zoning of Jubilee Party and rather Azimio. And so she said, let me come with my own party. And you know what? She doesn't have to be the candidate. It could be somebody else. And the party is willing to support anybody else, even if they're not from the party. If we believe that's the best candidate, would support. Even at the end of 5 years, if we were to see, oh, someone is better. But I know as of now, people really are believing she's the best person, because she's been handling Nairobi issues for the last 10 years. She's run successfully businesses for over a decade. And we're saying maybe it's time for a woman. And why I like Kenya Patriots Party, as a woman, as somebody who has vied as a woman, I know it is very hard to work with male politicians. It is so hard. If you are not firm, and and me, I'm single, I'm not married, hi guys. But it's so hard because they think, I think somebody who has had me speaking in the few minutes, they say, this woman has a little bit intelligence, and they just think you're just a pretty girl. You have maybe a mubaba who bought you this chain. They don't really think like you're capable. Even when women are nominated, the men already think, oh, who did she give favors to, or who did she pay? So we are saying, women, come, you're safe. You don't have to remove your bra to be to get the certificate. You don't have to remove money. As long as we do a research, you find you're the best person. Even if it's a man, it's a woman, we work together. We are patriots. It's for the better good of the country.
Why are you saying that Nairobi is not working?
Nairobi is not working because I was part of the production which handled some of the oversight through the Nairobi Senator Sifuna, and I got to see a lot firsthand of what is not working. We have unpaid bills of over 100 billion in Nairobi County. If you are supplying anything in Nairobi right now, you are depressed wherever you are, and somebody can really comment in the comment section. It's very tough to even work in Nairobi County. Right now, they're saying August salaries are not paid. They're saying also it's part of the equitable fund has not been released and all that. It's just so hard. Even as a woman right now in Nairobi, it's not safe for you to walk at night. The street lights are not working. There's a place in Ruai where they've never had water, and they're in a city. It's ever flowing water. Even at night now, I had people, there's the brown stuff they throw at your face in the middle of the night. So insecurity is at an all-time high. We have no drainage system, garbage system, corruption. We have no priority. If you're telling me you're paying Nairobi lawyers, there's this case with the Nairobi lawyer owing 500 million, almost $500 million, and the governor was refusing to pay. And even when you're telling me, first you're refusing to pay, but why are you spending $500 million on a lawyer, and you don't have salaries for your people, and you don't have, all these other things I've said that Nairobi is not working. The only thing I can say Sakaja did at least good that relieved the parents is Dishina County. But Dishina County is in dengue every day. And for me as a patriot, I want to ensure what I eat, my child eats, your child is also able to eat. I don't think Sakaja's children eats ndengu every day in Maragwe. So that is a failure to some degree. And I know most people are worried, if we bring another governor, will they still have this district account? Will they have green army where our young people still have jobs and all that? I believe the next governor assures us to do better, to bring some meat, to bring some smoky, and not just 1 million chapatis and our kids are constipated out there. And even when they're constipated, they can't even go to hospital. There's no medicine. Bagathi hospital has no medicine. We have stalled projects from Kidero's time, NMS, Sonko. Projects from that time are still stalled till today. So I think even the next governor should come and finish those projects which are pending. Woodley Stadium, City Stadium, the budget was approved 2023-2024. The stadium is still kaput. There's nothing happening. The contractors even stepped out of the place because the money has not been released. Why? And the money budget was approved.
So where do you think the problem is? Is it that we have a problem with our governance structures, especially in the city, or is the problem the holder of that particular office?
The holder of the office has a responsibility. He's the one who selected the people who work for him, except maybe the MCAs. And the MCAs have a responsibility. So when they also threaten to impeach, and then they are given a little bit of money and they step down, they are going to face the fine in 2027.
Allegedly, of course, we can't confirm whether
yes, allegedly, yes. Because, okay, unless they tell us what made them step down. And they have not come out and said, so if they want to beat the allegation, tell us why did you step down, so.
Yeah, but then those are your words, no mine.
Yes, not mine either, from the ground. So, the MCAs, they are also, their hands are tied. Because if the governor is not releasing this ward fund, if it is not paying bills, the people will say at the end of the year, you did not work for us. So it is their own failure if they, for whatever reason, change their mind to impeach the governor. So everyone has a responsibility. Yeah.
So what is it that the new governor should actually do? Because you are here saying here that the problem could be the holder of the office, and therefore that's why we are witnessing what we are actually witnessing right now in the county. Of course, Nairobi being as important as it is to this kind of economy, what would changing a governor actually bring? What kind of change would we actually witness? Because we've been at it. He's not actually the first governor here, but then these problems keep on recurring. So bring any other person, even if it's Agnes Kagure or any other person. Of course, I've seen Babu Owino still in the ring. Would that change anything?
I think the party also will also change something, because the broad-based thing, they're saying the governor is forced to take money here, is to take a bribe here and there. And so I think even with Kenya Patriots Party, being that it's a new function, will not have that problem. And another thing, the governor needs to select a team that he wants, not being forced here, or put for me this Azimio guy, or I'll get my MCS to impeach you, or the governor should have, even if it's an independent candidate or whatever, yani that whole having the balls to stand on your ground and say, I am going to select my team, and I will select them based on merit, not based on favors. And I will actually work for the people, and I will think of the long term, like I've said, not just thinking of, how am I going to make money out of this, because I'm not even planning to vie again, because they say Nairobi governor is one term. So let me make all the killing I can make and get out of here very fast. So we need a governor who's going to think the long run, contribute towards the betterment of the people, not for their own selfish gain, and keep it moving.
And talking about, of course, you've also talked about the failed impeachment of Governor Sakaja by the MCAs. Do you really think that he should have been impeached in the first place, according to you?
I think Governor Sakaja is not taking accountability of a lot of things. Even when it came to things like urban regeneration, people are being displaced and all that, just take accountability. There was CPAC was calling for an audit of Governor Sakaja about 2 weeks ago. He didn't show up. He's so scared of this audit report that is going to be audited for the last 3 years, what he has been doing. So why didn't he show up? If the MCAs are the ones, me, I'm just one person who is from one constituency and one ward. But if all those MCAs thought it worth it, the people who work closely with this guy, and saw it worth it that this guy should be impeached, cannot ignore it. It was something worth exploring and taking it to the Senate, and then Senate do more oversight and see if this guy is worth being impeached or not. But it didn't reach there, and so we'll see how it goes.
What do you make of the intervention by the president and ODM leader Raila Odinga on Sakaja's case?
What is the intervention?
Of course,
is it alleged or
no. There was
Yeah.
a meeting. There was a meeting actually between the Orange leader and members of county assembly affiliated to the Orange party, and actually the UDA MCAs also called to State House by the president, and they were talked to. Of course, the governor as well was. So the meeting actually happened, and they were whipped to drop this particular case and give the governor a period of 6 days to ensure that he actually changes and delivers on the demands. That is it. So there was that kind of intervention, and I've had this conversation, and several analysts are actually arguing that devolution as it is, as it was contemplated, should be allowed to work freely. If at all Governor Sakaja had any problem, and that could actually warrant his impeachment, then he should have been left to go all the way to the Senate, just as you said here. But then we saw President William Ruto come in, Raila Odinga come in to save his skin here. Do you also buy that kind of argument that they should not actually have come to his rescue at that point?
Yeah, I don't think they should have come to his rescue. They could have been advising him from the background before we reach this point. If anything, he's their son, you know. You don't wait for the same way the president was talking about MPs giving bribes, and you know, a bribe is not just financial. It could be a threat. It could be a something like that. That to me is like kind of a bribe that they did.
Okay.
Whether there was financial gain or not, that to me is a bribe. Yeah.
Quickly, let's now shift gears and get your view on what is actually now trending in the country. I can see different camps. People are already thinking about the next general elections. And of course, that is even why we are talking about People's Patriots Party and Agnes Kagure and 2027 general elections. It's 2 years, or rather less than 2 years before we get there. But then, first of all, do you think we have a problem as a country? Because immediately Ruto was sworn into office back then, we started politicking almost immediately, and we've carried it all along until this point in time. And people forget that these leaders actually have the mandate to deliver as well. We cannot politic from the very end of the elections to the next one. Do you think we have a problem there?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Do you think we have a problem of politics in this country? Because it's like the leaders, okay, Kenyans do expect that after elections, leaders are supposed to sit down, be given time and work. But then for us, it's like we are politicking from the very first, from the last election to the next general election. Do we actually have a problem? Should there be a particular period where we sit back and focus on what is more important and then wait for the right period to politics so that we do that?
I think now we are forced as Kenyans to oversight. We are forced to be very keen on what's happening. Before we know it, finance bill is passed here. There's public participation bills, what you know. We have to really be keen, and that's why we are forced to politic, because we realize, oh, we were not even informed about what's happening to our country. So now Kenyans have been forced to be keen. So I think it's a good thing that our young people are very keen to know what's happening in the country. And that's why most of the members of Kenya Patriots Party are young people, because they want to be involved in decision making. Even when we are talking of the next government, probably in parliament, we'll have the old people and the young people. It will be a very interesting parliament to see how those two age groups tackle issues for the country. So I think it's good to we keep the politicians on their toes. What I think maybe might not be good is, in any revolution, people will die. It's an unfortunate thing with Mau, with the British colonialism, with Nepal. Yeah, people will die.
My concern is the kind of character that we've seen with our politicians across the board. Of course, being on top of cars close to like every day from the time that somebody is sworn in. Yeah, that is what actually I was getting concerned here about. I mean, ni siasa from the very beginning till the end. For the entire 5 years, we're just here. People are on top of roofs, and then you see even the kind of meetings that the president is actually having at State House with all those people. And of course, that is indeed public money being spent there. And let's call it for what it is. That is politics as it is. So that is what they were saying, that should we then now shift gears and focus on what is it that is most important to us, so that we stay on the right side and then do politics later when it's due. But then while at that, you've been here, and of course you've told me here that you've worked with politicians as well as a communication strategist. At what point should actually somebody throw himself into the ring, if at all you was to vie for any particular position? Let me say maybe a member of parliament or anything of the sort.
Okay, I think the politicking first, if I tackle that first, it's unfortunate because then it digresses from actually doing the work that you promised to do.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's because now we have several opposition functions which are yet to combine into one, and you know, people are somehow politicking to have a voice on the table. If you stay quiet, it's just a politics. That's just PR. You know, branding yourself for 2027 because. You know, it's a short time to election, so people are already in that mindset, and you know, people don't want to let go of power. So there's that fear of, you know, and even if you see like with the Kenya Patriots Party, we are not talking so much about who's gonna vie, we're not even there. We're gonna think of that 1 year from now. We might even partner with somebody else who's not in Kenya Patriots Party or join a coalition. But for now, we are thinking what issues are on the ground, what can we do as Kenya Patriots Party to speak that patriotism. And even when we are talking in terms of branding with politics, what it takes, you know, there's this Theodore Roosevelt said, the man in the arena. You don't really know what it's like to be a politician. You don't know how it is to hold that office until you're in there. To some degree, it's really tough. You know, it's really tough for us to understand. And it's really tough to understand who makes it. We've seen places where someone was campaigning with a Kokoteni,
yes,
and they won an election. They say leaders are chosen by God. So to the best of our capability, we do our research and see who's the best person. And the main thing I said, I'm not willing to die for this country, but I'm willing to vote. I'm willing to get my voter's card. Get your voter's card, register as a voter, especially young people. They're saying intergenerational talks.
Yes.
They know young people, there are millions. They can swing a vote. So get your voter's card and have a say in who becomes the next leader in your area or in the country.
Okay, so now these are, of course, my last question on that particular segment. At what point should somebody throw himself or herself into the ring?
If you believe you are the best leader in your area, more than anyone you've seen before, you think you can do so much better, and you have the interests of the people at heart, you're not there for your own selfish gain, then do it. I pray at a time where MPs will make money like before, where Honorable Martha Karua was saying how much money they used to make, and therefore you not have a financial gain aspect to it of making money. Let us empower our citizens so much that it makes sense to have other careers than be a politician, where that's the most money you can make. Yeah.
2-term or 1-term? I think that is actually what is now trending in the political field right now. What's your stand? And of course, I believe that would also be the stand of Kenya Patriots Party.
Yeah. For you know, now there are many terms. There's 2-term, 1-term, long term, new term. You know, no 3-term. Watu wa Manu sahi wako 3-term. You know. So I think for Kenya Patriots Party, why I like that is not 1-term, is not 2-term. As we are long term, we are thinking of how Mwai Kibaki brought education till now. My child is in having free education. We're thinking of the next thing. I'm not a Gen Z. There's a Gen Z. There's a Gen Alpha. I'm thinking of, is this country going to be better for them, or am I looking for a job in Canada right now and get out of here before it gets worse? And so even in the long term, we say, you're 2-term, you're 1-term, come. We still work together, because guess what? You have a democratic right. The same way you strongly believe about 1-term, who is to say the person who believes in 2-term is not wrong? So come, let's work together. As long as you believe this leader is the person who has the long run thing, you'll have your voter's card and you will decide. Even for MCAs, MPs who want to vie with the Kenya Patriots Party certificate, you know, there are people who might have different views on long-term and whatever, 1-term and 2-term. But as we are about long-term, if we are fielding a presidential candidate, then we will say maybe this is what we are. I don't think we are, Kenya Patriots Party is fielding a presidential candidate. So even for us, we will then take a stand and say, after 5 years, we've seen this and this and this. But for now, if we're talking about even half-term, we don't want, being a patriot, we don't want to shed blood for this country anymore. We think about Mama Rex. Faith Odhiambo and Makau can never compensate her for the life she lost.
But there is a compensation for the victims wrong.
It is a good thing, but we are not going to the root. That's not the root of the problem. You cannot replace a life lost. You cannot put value on that mother's tears and say this is how much your child's life worth could be. You're not God, you know. And so it's a good thing. Yes, it massages not even the heart, the brain a little bit, because but the heart is still broken, that a life is lost. Let us look at how we're gonna safeguard this person's life, our young people's life who are being shot. Let us first even think about justice before we even get to compensation. Where are the police people who shot these people? What about this OCS Talam? What happened to all those news? You know, so it's unfortunate, but I think we're just going zigzag. We are going to minute things, you know,
Okay. Finally, let's talk about, of course, you brought in the issue of the young people here. How consequential do you think they're going to be in terms of the next general elections? Because we are seeing them here. You've seen the kind of wave that they brought forth ever since 2024, 2023 back then. And what's your view on their influence right now and the power that they actually hold as we progress towards the next general elections?
The young people hold a huge power because they are the ones who brought this voice of oversighting what is happening. And young people, I don't even think they want to hear about compensation, because think about those girls who are raped, who are just trying to make their voice heard in the maandamano. How do you compensate someone who has been raped? How do you change that woman's view of how to look at men again? You know, so young people have the politicians know, but the politicians also say these young people, they're just noisemakers. They don't have votes. In fact, hawatachukua kura. By next year, they will have forgotten watakuwa quiver. You know, they'll not be bothered about what's happening. So let the young people prove us wrong. Let the young people prove these old leaders wrong. Come out. Don't even just vote. Vie for political seats. I know political parties who don't believe, they'll not give you that certificate. You have to pay. You have to give other inappropriate favors. Come to Kenya Patriots Party. We believe in young people. And we know it's not about the next generation. The future is now. You are the leaders of now. So
we are here talking about young people and their role in the next general elections. Of course, there are those who will put themselves into the ring and vie for elective posts, but there are also the majority of them who will actually vote and will determine whoever becomes the next leader of this country, who will steer the country now to the right direction. Now, for those ones who will actually seek the elective seats, there are a lot of hurdles and problems along the way. Key among them is money. To what extent is money a factor in Kenyan elections? Because I know you've been here before, you've even vied. Just explain to us to what extent, what role does it actually play that could actually determine whoever wins or loses an election?
Money is very important. I want to believe this time it will not be important, because I want to believe people will actually take the money, yes, but not vote on you based on money. But I may be having too much faith in human beings, because the more people will be poverty stricken, the more they will think about that 500 shilling. I know people who forget all the development someone has brought them for that 500 shillings of that one day. And that also happened to me when I was vying. So it is quite unfortunate, but even at Patriots Party, you'll not find a party which will give you money to campaign or support you in any avenue, you know. It's unless you are the last end kabisa ni wewe ndio umepatiwa certificate yani kufa kupona. And even then they'll not give you money. They might help you joyride with the governor train, you know, but they'll not really listen to you on what you want to achieve for your people. So that's what makes Patriots Party people different. And I'm not there because I don't want to vie for any seat. I'm willing to support leaders who are going to make a change that Kenya needs. And that, to me, I'll be leading in my own capacity. And so, yeah, I think parties should invest in young people, even not just by all this noise, but also help them to become leaders if truly they believe in young people, as they say.
So how then will the young people, broke as they are, compete against these wealthy politicians in the long run?
Yeah, it all happens when we learn from our mistakes. If that mama mboga, mama boda boda is going to believe in this young person and say, huyu hana pesa lakini ya wacha tumpatie chance. He has a vision. Now wazee wametuangusha and all that. Let us try give these young people a chance. Because the more we select people even the young person might be having selfish ambitions. Look at the person about the ambitions they have, and sometimes you really don't know until they get in there. That's when they'll prove them wrong. So let us judge the existing leaders, and if they are not gone up to par, then let's replace them ASAP, whether it's with an old person, with a young person in your area. Think about who has even a track record, or even if they're not elected, have they been doing something for that area on their own personal capacity? Because a leader is a leader whether they're elected or not. So acha tuombe tu, God will give us wisdom. Yeah.
One thing that has actually been of concern to me is the fact that, yes, the young people have the numbers here, and they'll be very critical and decisive in terms of determining who becomes the next leader of this particular country. But at the same time, you've seen the manner in which people are campaigning here, and the bigwigs in the political arena in the country are actually competing for that particular constituency. There has been a notion that President William Ruto has lost faith with the young people. So some people believe that, owing to the fact that the young people were at the forefront of the particular revolution that we witnessed in this country, then he's lost that particular constituency. The same way, of course, you are aware that those in the political circles in this country are saying that he's also lost the mountain. I wonder how true is that. But then at the same time, we've also seen the loyal opposition, as they refer to themselves, also trying to woo young people on their side. How will the young people actually make sure that they make the right choice without being used by any particular faction?
That's the problem with the young people. They seem volatile. We don't really know what's in their mind. Because one thing you can say, they've lost that constituency, yet they were just in State House yesterday eating pilau and soda, given motorbikes, and then they are not living with them. They are left at the gate. So I don't even know how volatile the young people are. Are they going to make informed decisions? Are they going to stick to their guns and think about the people who have died for this country, the other young people who have died for this country? Are you going to be swayed for 500 shillings? And if you feel that this government has done something for you, and you feel empowered, and you feel like you have a future, sure, do have a vote. If you feel the opposition, do that. But don't be swayed about 500 shillings, which you know, after that, the politician will never pick your calls. These guys, they never pick your calls. I know people, I've worked with politicians myself. They will not pick your calls. Half of them, because they are just thinking, oh, 2 years to the election, hata wenye ndo watakutafuta. Yeah, so think about all those things and look at your area. Do you have water? Do you have security, garbage? Shule zenyu zinakaje? Look, go to a public school toilet. Go inside and see how those toilets look. You know, look at your governor, judge them, and make that informed decision. To me, akili, you guys are very smart. You know, yeah, use that that bravery you have and make an informed decision. Yeah, don't be swayed.
We've seen the president invite young people to the house on the hill, and of course several other people have also been invited, including teachers. We saw them over there. Do you think these, if at all the president lost that particular constituency of the young people, that now by calling them over there and giving them whatever it is that they receive, those kind of tokens, that he'll be able to buy them back on his side?
I think as a young person, maybe I need to be invited to State House to confirm that whether my decision might be swayed one way or another by going to State House. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. 2027 will tell us. Because even for me as a communication strategist, I would do that. I would support Harambee Stars because a lot of young people watch football. Today, most of my status, like I was saying, is about Arsenal, Man City, Man U, you know. So that's, I think to me, it's a strategy. Because tell us as young people in every sector, what are you going to do for young people? Content creators, actors, the people who are in business, who are young people, making it a safe environment for us. You know, even people in technology. You have a lot of brilliant minds in tech, Kenyan young people, you know. So there's Forex, people are doing Forex. What are these young people doing? Get to know them, you know, get to understand what they need and do things that pertain to them. Because every generation is different. Right now, somebody who's, like I was giving example of Mvuria, he has been a youth, but has not been a youth in this generation. Even for me now, when I look at my child and the things they're talking about Gen Alpha, I'm like, hey, Gen Alpha, when I was young, rather, I didn't go through such things. So the life is different. Every 10 years there's a new generation because there's so much things that happen different that even the next 10 years you have AI, robots, so much of them. it will be a whole different generation. So get to understand what the people want and give them what they want.
One of the most important things that actually drove the young people as well to the ground was, of course, what we've witnessed in the recent past, joblessness and all that. Do you think that the government has actually tackled that in a better way?
No, I've not seen, even in the scorecard, I didn't see how that happened. Yeah, I think, you know, you can call young people for piki, you can call them for blood riots, but not everyone wants to be a salonist. That's not the only way we can empower young people, by giving them borders, seriously. And then at the same time, they are so filled up in town, you want to chase them away. Like, yeah, find out what the young people want. As an actor, I'm telling you, as a film producer, I want someone to invest in my movie, which is coming out on Mother's Day. Come help me to make that movie. Show me how you're going to give Kenya Film Commission, the Empowerment Fund, and the Kalasha Awards, which is the Kenyan Oscars, which next year is not happening because the government is not funding Kenya Film Commission. Yeah, tell the musicians, MRCSK, is it called that? Yeah. How are they going to be empowered as musicians? You know, so there's so much they are not going to the root. Again, comes back to that problem. You know, find out from the horse's mouth where the shoe pinches. You don't make decision for somebody and you're not in their industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Sabina Stadler, for making time for us. Maybe your last word as we wind this particular segment of the show.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not willing to die for this country, but I'm willing to live hard for this country. I'm willing to stay in Kenya, and that means I envision a Kenya which is conducive for business, is safe for a woman, is safe for every Kenyan, and I also hope to have a Kenya which is led by amazing leaders who have Kenya at heart, and who are going to bring a lot of changes which are going to make life better for me, but also for the next generation. And that is why I am a member of Kenya Patriots Party as of now. To join, dial *386# and join the movement.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it from Sabina Stadler here. Of course, she is a political communication strategist and an expert in political matters in this country. He has had vast experience dealing with a number of political players in the nation, and she understands better the Kenyan political landscape. Weigh in and tell us what you actually think on the good conversation that you just had here. If actually you're watching us for the first time, kindly subscribe to our channel here and feel free to reach out to us if you want to partner with us and advertise with us. We are free. Our details are down there. Contact us, talk to us, and we'll be more than glad to partner with you. Allow me to stop for now till we have this conversation again. Thank you for watching. My name is Evans Okinyi.